As soon as we arrived in Cardiff, we went straight to the chandlery. The next thing we needed to do was to send Abigail up the mast to install a new courtesy flag line. We already have one on the starboard side. This is for when we're going into different countries, so we hoist their flag. The one on the port side will be for people we have on board. So for example, I'm from South Africa, so I could hoist a South African flag up on the port side. On our numerous trips to the chandlery, we acquired some new equipment. We got some jack lines so that we can clip onto them so that we'd be more safe. We got new pad eyes to install into the cockpit so that we have extra places to clip on. Our night sail really did teach us quite a lot about safety on board. When in Cardiff, we were supposed to collect a new crew member. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it to us, so we're going to have to continue the journey as just the two of us. We then moved the boat from Cardiff Marina to Penarth Marina to refuel. We then stayed overnight because we mistimed the barrage, as Abigail will explain.
Hello and good morning. We are take 2 at the Cardiff Bay barrage. We've just been hanging around. We've got our fenders ready. We've got our ropes slipped so they're ready. And they're just opening the doors for us, and we are pretty sure we've timed it correctly because we tried yesterday and it was low tide, so we would have definitely grounded. So yeah, wish us luck. This was not my favourite thing to do when we came in.
In this clip that you see now, we are taking the main out in the way we usually do. If you're unfamiliar with how roller furler mains work, essentially there's a big rod in the mast which the sail will roll around. So in order to get it out, what we need to do is we need to pull on the out haul, which is the line that runs to the back of the boom. And on our boat, it's a bit tricky to just pull on the out haul, so we often also use the furl out line to help it along. Another way to help get the sail out quicker or with less difficulty is to head the boat into wind, as this releases the tension that the wind would put into the sail, which would make it harder to pull out. So as you can see, Abigail is doing her best to pull it out, but obviously it is quite difficult. Our next leg was to go from Cardiff to Oxwich.
Come to you from inside the spray hood in the shelter. We've had an eventful morning, to say the least. It's just turned midday. We left, got through the barrage, we timed it perfectly, tide was super high. We were in there and pretty much the doors just opened on the other side and they let us through. The lock is springs, so it's about an 8-metre difference between low water and high water, which is going to make anchoring shortly quite interesting as well. However, we got out and we put both of our sails up. The winds were forecasting to be pretty light, like between kind of about 10-ish knots, 5-10, and then we came out and it was more like 10-15, so we were like, well, maybe think about reefing, and it just, kept, it was 15 and it climbed and climbed, so we reefed the main and it still felt a wee bit overpowered, so we reefed the Genoa, and we've been having problems unfortunately with the leech line. There's a cleat on the leech line to help tighten it, and that just keeps slipping. Sean has kind of figured out a quick fix and he's tied a rope to it and then has tied that rope tightly around the boom, just meaning that it won't flutter and it kind of keeps the tension pulled down on the leech line. But we didn't tie it in time and then it was too reefed, so we weren't really that sure what to do. And then we looked up and our mainsail had ripped. So we have a tear just along kind of one of the panels. It is quite near the top, but we're not exactly sure quite where it is, just as we were reefed at the time, you know? So that's not ideal. We do not actually have any sail tape. So yeah, we are gonna try and figure that out when we're in the anchorage. This has been a bit of a hairy day. We pretty much just had to put away the sails and just turn the motor on, and we're just motoring to the anchorage we're going to. Thankfully it's really not that far away, so we should get there about 2-ish. We've got the tide with us. We left on the ebbing tide, so that's really helped us along. We've been doing kind of up to 8.5 knots over ground, but it's wind against tide, so the waves, I don't know if you can see from how much the boat's kind of moving, but the waves are pretty huge, like that. So yeah, eventful basically. Sean is hand steering just so we don't slam too much, but we've mostly had the autopilot on and we're just kind of turning it up and down a few degrees whenever we need it. Hoping to be at the anchorage shortly and we'll try and fix our sail then.
We then successfully made it to Oxwich, but we weren't able to fix the mainsail.
Another early morning.
The next day was from Oxwich to Padstow. This turned out to be quite a long day. Because of the rip in the main, we couldn't have it out, so we only had the Genoa.
Every time that we see dolphins on the boat, it's always super duper exciting, and this was one of our favourite visits so far.
After a long day and a quick anchor in front of the Doom Bar, we arrived into a gorgeous Padstow. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.